Hello and welcome to Starcraft Tutorials, where I will be showing you how to use our new colour pooling yarn, which as you can see comes in these 6 fun shades, all with the ability to create patterns using colour. I'll be showing you how to achieve an Argyle effect. This is where each shade travels in a diagonal direction, creating a woven look to your fabric. So as you can see, the dark blue is travelling along here and the lime's travelling along here, and the colours intertwine and crisscross to make this lovely pattern. Colour pooling has been seen by lots of people, but it can look a bit technical. But it isn't really. Once you know how, it can be simple. So let's take a closer look at how we can use a colour pooling yarn to make this Argyle effect. So I think the best place to start is to have a bit of a description of what colour pooling yarn is and what we are aiming to do to get this pattern. So a colour pooling yarn is a yarn with a colour repeat, and in that colour repeat we can then position the colours or manipulate them to sit in a certain pattern. And we manipulate the positioning with our tension. And that is what makes our colours sit where we want them to. So let's just go back to the yarn and have a look at the repeat. So you can see here that we have a light blue, then we go on to having a lime, and then we have a turquoise, followed by a dark blue. We should then have a light blue, as that is the colour we started with, and so it is. So we have a light blue, lime, turquoise and dark blue. And that's what the colour repeat will be throughout the whole ball. So we know what the colour repeat is going to be, and we can see the colours in this sample. So we're going to take our yarn, and we're going to start off by doing a row of chains. You can start off anywhere in the colour sequence. Just pick up your yarn and get chaining. And we're going to chain through a whole colour sequence. So we're going through the light blue now and onto the limey colour. So we'll just see where in the pattern we're up to now. So we've got a tiny bit of turquoise here, the dark blue, the light blue, the lime and the turquoise, and then we've just got a little bit of the dark blue here. So our aim here is to finish, to have the last stitch on our hook in the new colour. Okay, so that is still the turquoise. So the beginning of the new pattern repeat is going to be the dark blue, so we just want one loop of dark blue on the hook. So I'd say that's dark blue. So now we're going to turn and work back along the stitches. We're going to DC into the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, DC into there, chain 1, miss your next chain, DC into there, chain 1, miss your next chain, DC, chain 1. That's what we're going to do for the rest of this row. So now we're doing this until we have worked through another full colour sequence. Now you won't get to the end of your chains here because you use up more yarn doing DCs and chains than you do just doing chains. So we've got that little bit of turquoise on the end, dark blue, light blue, lime, and then we've got to the turquoise, so we need to do a full repeat of a full strip of that. So now we've gone through every colour in our sequence, and the full first block of colour is the dark blue, so that's the colour that's going to be the next colour in our second repeat, in our next repeat. So this is the crucial bit. This is what determines the positioning of our colours. So if we got to the end of that last colour here and then chained, turned round and carried on, all our stitches would end up stacked on top of each other, like in this sample here, which is still a nice effect, but that's not what we want. We're wanting to do the argyle, where all the stitches are moved over to make this effect. So to do that, we've got two options. We can either add a full stitch and the chains in the next of the colour sequence in the dark blue, or we can take a full stitch and chain away in the last colour, because either way that's going to either shift the stitches, the colour repeat on one way or the other way. So I'm going to take a full DC away and the chain. There we go. So just got that bit of turquoise at the end. Then we're going to chain 2 and turn and carry on. So we're going to go into that first chain space, DC, chain 1, into the next space, DC, chain 1, next chain space, DC, chain 1. So that sets our moss stitch pattern that we're using throughout the whole thing. So that's as complicated as your stitches get, and it makes a lovely fabric. Some people have commented that it looks like Tunisian crochet, this stitch. So it's not until we get onto our next row that we'll be able to see if we've started off the pattern correctly and if it's going where we want it to. So we've just got to DC and chain all the way to the end. Making sure we DC into that last chain space there, and then chain 2 and turn. So now you can see that on our right side row you've got different colours to your wrong side row. So you've got your dark blues here, and then on the row above you've got these lime greens here. So for this next row we're concentrating on the first row of stitches that we did. So we're looking at these dark blues, and we're wanting the dark blues to sit on top until we get to here, and we want to make sure that it's shifted over by one stitch. So let's have a look and see how it pans out. So DC into that first chain one space, chain one, and continue like that along. So as you can see, all these dark blues are sitting on top of the dark blues, which is what we want. And then the next stitch, we want it to be a dark blue there as well, because we want them all to be shifted over. But as you can see, that is a little bit light blue. So what I can do is I can go back and tighten up my stitches so that there's a bit more dark blue left for me to finish this one off here. Okay, so we'll go back. And we'll do exactly the same as what we've just done, but we'll just tighten up our stitches a little bit. Hopefully that'll be enough to make that. So it's still sitting on top of it there, isn't it? It's still dark blue on dark blue, and then so if we carried on like that, you'd end up with all your colours sitting on top of each other. So like I said, that isn't what we want. We want them all to move over by one. So we will have to take it back a little further. So we'll go as far as the lime and carry on, just tightening our tension a little bit. And hopefully it will have worked this time. Chain two at your end and turn, then you DC into that first chain one space. So here's hoping this time it's all shifted over one. I have a feeling it might work. So we want dark blue here. Yep, and we also want a dark blue in the next one. Now that's better. So you can see here, the dark blue has ended up over one this time, over that light blue, which is just what we wanted. So we can carry on. So here, you can clearly see where the colour has shifted over one here, then we've gone through our blue, and then the colour has shifted over here too. So you've got, yeah, lime starts here on this one, and you've got a lot of the light blue in that one there. But as you can see, it's kind of half blue, half green. So what we're going to try and do is just tighten that last row of light blues up just a little bit. So it's good to try and not get half stitches. I mean, sometimes it can't be helped and your pattern still follows on correctly. So we've got a little bit more blue in that one going over that green one there. So we'll carry on and see if the pattern is falling correctly now. So your turquoise is starting here and your lime's here, and you can see that is quite a lime stitch there over the turquoise. So we can turn and carry on and see if the pattern is still shifting over. So we've come to the end of this block of blue here. So we want the next stitch to be a blue here. Perfect. So you've got that dark blue sitting over your light blue there. So you've got your light blue sitting over your lime. But then here, you've kind of got the same colours sitting on top of each other. So you've got lime, 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 and then your turquoise, which we don't really want. Okay, so we want this this lime colour to be sitting over here, over this turquoise one. So we're going to pull it back a little bit and just tighten up the stitches. We'll pull it back to this light blue. Just tighten up them stitches and carry on. And that's better. You've got a little bit more, where this turquoise is coming in here, you've got a bit more lime over it. So you 2 chain and turn. So the blues are stacking on top of the blues. And here you can see where this line is starting to appear of the dark blue. So we want a dark blue here and a dark blue here. Uh-oh. So it's ended up being a little bit half and half. You've got a little bit of the light blue and the dark blue there. So take it back and tighten it up. And obviously if it's going the other way, where you've got too much of your, let's say your blues were ending up not only 1 stitch over but a few more stitches over, you'd have to use up more yarn. So you'd go loose. You'd take it back a bit and loosen off. Hopefully we'll get to a point where I can show you as an example. But at the moment it just seems like everything needs tightening up a bit to get the pattern starting off right. So we want a full blue here and we want a full blue here, so that line starts going diagonal across here. Perfect. So that's a full blue there, so you can see where this line is starting to take shape. So that's worked out correctly as well. You can see where this light blue line is appearing. So at the edge of here, that's your light blue and your lime, and your light blue is coming over that lime stitch there. So here we want another lime, which we do, and a bit of lime here. So it starts to go turquoise there. I know it's not as easy to see with the lime and the turquoise, but that is a limey stitch over that turquoise there. So 2 chain and turn. So we'll just see if this has worked out correctly. So this dark blue line here, we wanted that to be a full dark blue stitch. You can see there's a little bit of dark blue in that one below, but there's only one strand of it, so I'd still say that that was a pretty good light blue stitch. So I wanted to continue that diagonal line across here. Okay, so we can see how the lime colours are starting to shift over that way, and the dark blue colours are shifting this way, with your turquoise at the ends with that line there and there, and your light blue will start, it'll start to go off in this direction, but it's all just sat in the middle at first. So that seems to be about right there. Into that and turning chain, and chain 2 and turn, and then we'll just go to the end of this row and see if it's still working out. So we're wanting the turquoise to be in this direction here. You've still got turquoise sitting over that dark blue stitch there, which is what we want. So we've gone into a light blue stitch here, and is that what we wanted? No, because as you see you've got dark blue, so you want the dark blue to end up over here, and it hasn't, so we're going to have to pull it back and tighten up again for it to continue this line here. So we'll see if we can just get it to work by going to the end of the dark blue. So this is where we got to before. This is where we want a dark blue stitch. No, it's not worked again. Look, got a little bit more of it, but it's still light blue. So we'll have to take it all the way back to the end. Another thing you can do is change your hook size. So we could go to a smaller hook size to tighten it up if we wanted. If tightening up your tension really wasn't working,
It usually does work though. But going up or down a hook size can work better for some people. They might prefer that technique to alter your tension. Right, so we want a dark blue here and a dark blue here, which we're not getting again. So what could we do? Let's take it back, and another technique you can do is work one less end chain. So let's just work one chain instead of two. Turn. Because even though this goes against everything you've been taught in crocheting to keep your tension nice and even, with colour pooling, you change your tension as much as you needs be really to get this pattern to work right. So we want a dark blue here and we want a dark blue here. Yay! So we've got that dark blue here now, so we finally got it. So I'm glad I could show you that chain at the end, that example. And obviously it can work the other way. You can add an extra chain if you need to, if your tension is needing to loosen off, and no matter how loose you go it's not working out, just add an extra chain in there. That should help. So there we go, you should be able to start seeing the pattern working. So I just want to show you some more examples of what you can do. As you can tell here, and it always seems with mine for some reason I have to tighten up to get the pattern to work. So what ends up happening is, as you can see with this sample, your bottom foundation chain is wider than your work, but there's a way to combat this. So instead of working into the chains, what you can do, it's like how we've done here, is you can work around your chain instead. So you can do your chains through your colour sequence like we did before, with the first stitch of your next sequence on your hook, then DC into the fourth chain from the hook to hold it all in place. Then instead of working into your chains, you work around your chain, as you can see there. And then this allows you to be able to squish them up if you need to, squish them up if it's getting tight, or loosen them off if it's getting too loose up top. And then when it comes to finishing it off, what you can do is cut your chain, your excess chain, and then what I like to do is you can get your needle and just undo your chain like so. Make sure your stitches are even across your chain how you'd like them. So you've undone that and you can just sew it into here. Sew it into there, and then you've got a nice even tension start of your work. Okay, so that's a good technique. I also wanted to show you what happens if you don't keep an eye on your positioning of your colours and just crochet without really keeping an eye on them. You still do get a nice effect. You can still see something's happening here, but it's not as definite as you can see next to this sample here. It's very definite where these lines are. It just looks a lot more impressive, whereas that one is just a little bit more mottled and spaced out. So if you use all them techniques and really get your colours bang on in position, that's what it'll end up like. And here's just another colour example. We've got some more subtler colours which are beautiful colourways, but obviously for the purpose of a video we need to go with the ones that are most contrasting. But this with the pinks and the browns is lovely, and obviously on a bigger piece from a distance it really looks impressive. So I really hope you found these tutorials useful. Hopefully plenty of you will be willing to give it a go now. So join us next time, and thanks for watching.